Frédérique, I'm so happy to have you on stage here today. You have an inspirational journey. I mean, you started in France, and now you are leading investment as a partner at Google Venture. So let's start with your move, your transatlantic move to the US. Tell us a little bit more about what brought you here.
Well, thank you for having me. Thanks for being here. So I was born and raised in Nice, south of France. Grew up in Nice and then studied in Paris, engineering in Paris. And I had this dream as a little girl that I wanted to move to the US. That was a childhood dream. And so I kind of manufactured my move to San Francisco. I decided to do my master in satellite communication in London to learn to speak English. After I graduated from my master, I contacted a few alumni from my school to figure out how to move to the US. And it was in 1999, so everyone was telling me there was no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no Skype, no FaceTime. So everyone was telling me you need to come to San Francisco to meet people. So I packed a suitcase, spent 10 days in San Francisco and found a job through my alumni network in San Francisco within 10 days. So really incredible adventure, lots of ups and downs in the last 25 years, but lots of being laid off, finding new jobs, fighting to get my green card, finally getting my citizenship, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Well, and an incredible start of the journey with you being one of the first product managers at Uber. Mm-hmm. So what was it like? I mean, that company. So how did you ended up there, and how it led you to your role at Google Venture, from operating to being investment?
So I worked at a few startups. I worked at Yahoo 20 years ago. And then after working at a few startups, I decided I wanted to work at a company that was as innovative at Yahoo at the time, with like the agility of a startup. And so I started to interview in 2012 and met this small team at Uber and realized that I really wanted to work with a group of people that were really innovative and fun to work with. I think as a product manager, I was the second product manager at Uber, and I was really excited to work until midnight with a fun group of people. Like that was my dream, to work with engineers and just like enjoy the journey. I had wanted to be the head of product forever, and all of a sudden I'm like, I just want to enjoy the journey. I don't care what this company is going to do. I just want to be happy in the now. And I talked to Travis, who pitched me the job the same way he would pitch to a VC. He's like, all our drivers, like at the time we were 80 people, 30 people at HQ, like 10 engineers. And he told me, it's like, all our driver information are in spreadsheets. We need to build backend infrastructure to put our drivers on a database, to onboard drivers more efficiently, to pay drivers, communicate with drivers, and do quality control. And so I'm like, sign me up. I did that at Yahoo. Let's go. And this was probably the best experience of my life. Like really working really hard, but every 3 months it was a new company. We were changing processes. We were upgrading teams. We were being later. Like things were really, really complicated, but also really fun. And you had to put your ego at the door and really just do the work and realize that there was no stopping, and you need to just progress, you know, and scale the team, scale the product. And 4 years later, we were 10,000 employees. So went from 80 to 10,000, and was really a great experience.
So that led you to being an investor at Google Venture? Oops.
That was not planned. No, that was not planned. I think when I left Uber, I thought I would do another product job somewhere else, but I realized very quickly, talking to investors, talking to entrepreneurs, that the impact I had at Uber, I could have it tenfold by being an investor and investing in 10 companies. And so being in the trenches, working on product, I think I started to work with entrepreneurs and coaching them And really, I think like when you build a company, you have a special power. You look at Mark Zuckerberg in social networks. You look at Travis with marketplaces. Like every entrepreneur like picks their category because they have a special feeling or a special intuition about how to build what they are building. And I think as an entrepreneur, as an advisor, as a coach, as a mentor to a lot of entrepreneurs, I love to brainstorm with them to figure out like what's your special sauce. Like you don't want to be the next Steve Jobs, you want to be your next yourself. And so to me, falling into venture capital was almost like the next natural step. And I'm also very curious and I love to learn new things. And every time I meet an entrepreneur, I learn something new. And I have my experience from Uber and Yahoo, but at the same time, it was like 10 years ago. So it's also not using what I learned, but building on what I learned as well. So yeah.
So what would you say is now as an investor, your superpower, probably coming from the operating experience at Uber that you bring on the table? We often say like, yeah, it's great to have VC that have been doing it, so not just finance people. So what would you say about that?
I don't think when I joined venture, a lot of people told me, like, you're going to miss building products. Like, you want to be in the entrepreneur spot and do their job, and you're going to be miserable taking a step back and not being in the trenches. And you don't have a finance background, so what are you doing as an investor? And I think that my product background really helped me connect with entrepreneurs. When I meet entrepreneurs, we brainstorm on product, and I try the product, and you would be surprised. A lot of investors are like, oh my God, you try the product. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to invest. If I'm going to invest in a product, I want to try the product. And I usually like take screenshots and send feedback. And I think when you invest, it's a long-term journey. Like it's a 10-year journey when you invest in a company and in an entrepreneur. And you want to make sure you have that chemistry on day one. And you want to make sure that you build that trust. So there are going to be a lot of ups, but also a lot of downs. And you want to be able to work with them and have them be vulnerable with you and build on this vulnerability. And on like, there are going to be a lot of bad news. And I want the entrepreneurs to go to me and tell me, like, this is what's not working, so we can actually work on making things work. And you will be surprised that a lot of entrepreneurs are scared of their investors and will only still sell the product. I'm like, you don't need to sell me, I'm already in. Like, tell me how I can help you and how we can troubleshoot together.
And I believe you just said, I tried the product, I'm a woman in VC. So I believe you kind of also built your journey within Google Venture into an investment thesis in things you wanted to invest in. Mm-hmm. Healthcare.
Yeah. So when I joined GV, Google Ventures, I'm on the consumer team. I'm a consumer investor, and my mandate was to invest in marketplaces and future of work, like all the things I did at Uber. And one thing led to another, where I started to do one women's health investment, two women's health investment, another digital health investment, and next thing you know, I'm like, okay, I made this investment. I need to actually build theses around this investment to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and I'm on track. And we have 4 different practices at Google Ventures. We have consumer, enterprise, frontier, and life science. We have an incredible life science team. And I saw an opportunity to work as a consumer investor very closely with our life science team. And so asking a lot of feedback about protocols, safety protocols for the patients, and understanding like what type of best practices in healthcare, because it's not just a marketplace like Uber where you grow at all costs, and if a package is not delivered, that's fine. Or if you don't go to your right destination on time, it's okay. You have actually the safety of the patient and
Well, you try the product, you said.
I tried the product. But when you scale and you want to scale fast, you have actually patients' life at stake. Yes. And patients' health. So it was really great to have our life science team being quarterbacking me, so to speak. But I started a thesis in healthcare. And I think as an investor, you want to support entrepreneurs like build the future. And marketplace had been done over and over again. And I think there is always a new marketplace to invest in. But to me, the next frontier of innovation was healthcare. Like transportation had been redone. I think I was used to regulatory environment and stringent regulatory environment. And so I think healthcare was kind of the next frontier, and consumerization of healthcare was a new next big thing. And especially in women's health, I think there are a lot of, like, women started to be in clinical studies in the 90s, believe it or not. So it's like a lot of studies on medication, clinical protocols have been done on men because they don't have a cycle and it's much more predictable, but the way women react to medication is way different. And so I thought there was a huge opportunity. It's 50% of the population. It's not charity. It's not a niche market. And so started to look at fertility, maternity care. Menopause is hot right now. Like, invested 2 years ago, and it's living a moment, and women need it. And so I think that there was a lot of things that we could do in that space that were underinvested. As a woman, there was also an investor market fit, where a lot of women were coming to me to talk about their theses and their products. So it kind of fell into place, so to speak.
So to your point, you mentioned like menopause, and so what are the biggest trends you see right now? What are the hottest trends and things you really want to be in?
Yes, I think you see a lot of men podcasts on longevity, and I think longevity is a big thing about, like, how do you live longer, but you also live better through food, sleep, diet, hormones, testosterone replacement therapy, estrogen replacement therapy. So I think there is a lot on longevity, and I think finding product wedges, like menopause is a big thing. Like, if you don't take hormone replacement therapy, you have issues with brain health, bone health, and cardiovascular health. And so it's like, how do you, like, longevity is a big thing, and how do you solve for longevity in a personalized manner for different categories of people, whether it's obesity treatment, menopause, testosterone replacement therapy. So there is a lot that can be done with longevity, a lot about personalized care. I think it's not a one-size-fits-all for any of us. We are all different. We all react differently to a lot of different treatments, and we all have very different conditions. So I think personalized care, longitudinal care, personalized care is just really, really important.
And what about AI? We see everywhere, like, AI will change the world, especially in healthcare. Well, in every sector, but healthcare is really a big thing about data and what we can do. What is your point of view on AI?
So AI is extremely important in healthcare. I think that that's a very good question. Like, you see how AI can help with clinical studies, with drug development, with care delivery. In the care delivery sector, I think a lot of my companies have doctors doing sync visits with their patients, whether it's for chronic conditions, maternity care, obesity care. And you want AI to make doctors superhuman. So you want the doctor to still work with the patient one-on-one and really listen to them. I think a lot of time it's also about therapy. Like, a lot of people go to doctor and don't feel heard. And for the first time with this type of care delivery and with telehealth, you can actually get to talk to a doctor in a very focused manner. And I think AI can make those doctors superhuman and be very complementary to doctor versus replacing the doctor. I think you still need the doctor, but you want to help with all the back office. You want to help them take notes. You want to generate protocols and compare the protocols from the doctor to what the AI will generate. You want to help with prioritization for insurance. You want to help with revenue cycle management to make sure that you recoup your dollars at the end of the day to make it a real business. So AI can help in so many ways to make those businesses more efficient, so they can provide the right quality of care to the patient, but in a way that is scalable, safe, and really personalized. So everywhere. Like I think AI is, we talk a lot about AI for the sake of AI, but I think AI in the context of healthcare is about use cases and making it in the context of something that can be tenfold more performant than what it is today. Yeah.
So to conclude on a transatlantic note, because this is the theme of today, what is the biggest difference you see, well, in health investment, but also between US and Europe in the way you would invest?
So in our practice, we invest in care delivery, device and diagnostic, and therapeutics. So I think there are very different approaches to how we address healthcare in the US versus how we address healthcare in Europe and in France. When I invest, I look at the business model, the go-to-market, and making sure that the businesses are sustainable and that there is an actual return on investment. At the end of the day, investors are in the business of making money, for better or for worse. But we want to empower entrepreneurs and we want to support companies to find the right way to build a business that is sustainable. And so in my opinion, I don't think I've made a lot of investment in the US. I'm based in the US, but I also want to find the best investment in Europe. And I have yet to find the right business model, for reimbursement rates, and the way healthcare is being practiced in Europe is not necessarily the same as in the US. So, and God knows we know that a lot of people in France, I know from experience from my family, that it's now becoming really hard to find to get an appointment within 6 months because there are not enough doctors. And how do we scale that in a way where reimbursement rate makes sense to build a tech business around healthcare in Europe and in France? So still try to find it, spend a lot of France to meet entrepreneurs, great AI companies in France. Nabla is one Scribe company that I really love. And so it's how do we make it happen?
Great. So if we have French entrepreneurs in health here, you can go and talk to Frédérique. Thank you very much, Frédérique, for this talk.
Thank you so much.